Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're cracking the code on a fundamental English grammar rule that, honestly, trips up almost everyone at some point. Whether you're a native speaker who just kind of goes by what sounds right, or you're an advanced learner trying to nail down the exact mechanics, we're using our source notes today to help you build absolutely perfect sentences every single time. It all boils down to mastering the secret code of transitive and intransitive verbs.
Okay, let's just dive right into it. Why does a phrase like, "she arrived at the hotel," sound instantly glaringly wrong to an experienced English speaker? Think about it. You know exactly what the person means. The vocabulary is spot on, and the tense is totally fine. Yet, there's a missing link that makes the whole sentence just kind of collapse. I mean, why can't we just arrive a place? Keep that question in the back of your mind because we're going to solve it.
To solve this little mystery, we are digging into these brilliant, highly structured, handwritten notes from Mr. Moataz Salim from My English World. I absolutely love finding resources like this. It's literally a masterclass packed onto a single page. These notes perfectly break down two very specific types of verbs that basically dictate how English sentences have to be built. We're going to pull the core lessons from this page and break them down step by step.
First up, we've got transitive verbs. Think of the prefix trans, like in transport or transfer. It literally means to carry across. So a transitive verb is an action that passes over from the subject doing the action directly to something else receiving it. It absolutely requires a direct object to make grammatical sense. If the action doesn't fall on a specific thing or person, the sentence feels totally incomplete, almost like you've been left hanging mid-thought.
Notice how the action just falls directly on a thing. Think about the first example. She reads a book. The action of reading is directly impacting a book. The book is the direct object here. If you just walked up to someone and said, "she reads," and walked away, we'd all be standing there waiting for the rest of the sentence. Same deal with the second example. He kicked the ball. The action of kicking transfers straight to the ball. The ball takes the hit. It receives the kick.
So how do you know for sure if a verb is transitive? Well, our source notes give us this fantastic, foolproof little diagnostic tool. It's called the action test. All you have to do is look at your verb and ask yourself, the action fell on what or who? If you can answer that question with a noun, a person, a place, or a thing, then boom, you are definitely dealing with a transitive verb. She reads what? A book. It's such a simple, quick mental check.
On the flip side, we have intransitive verbs. Look, if transitive verbs are needy and constantly require an object to hold their hand, intransitive verbs are fiercely independent. Their meaning is perfectly clear and complete entirely on its own. The action doesn't transfer to anything else at all. It begins and ends right there with the subject. No receiver of the action needed whatsoever.
To really hear this independence in action, let's think about these statements. She sleeps or he arrived. Try doing that action test we just talked about here. She sleeps what? Right? It makes zero sense. These sentences are perfectly clear and grammatically whole without adding a single other word to receive the action. The subject does the thing and, hey, that's the end of the story. Now, here is an absolutely crucial point. Just because a verb is intransitive doesn't necessarily mean it has to be the very last word in your sentence. It just means it cannot take a direct object. You can easily add extra details by using a prepositional phrase or an adverb, like saying, she sleeps early or she sleeps deeply. But you cannot attach a direct object. Early is just an adverb describing how she sleeps. It's not a physical thing receiving the action of sleeping,
And wow, this brilliantly solves our opening mystery. She arrived the hotel is a super common mistake precisely because arrive is an intransitive verb. You literally can't arrive a thing. The action just doesn't transfer to the hotel like that. To connect the verb to the location, you absolutely need the preposition at, making it she arrived at the hotel. Conversely, just saying he kicked is an error because, as we know, kick is transitive and it demands an object. He's got to kick something, like the ball.
Let's keep going and see how this builds because, let's be real, grammar is rarely purely black and white. Context changes absolutely everything. You can't just memorize two static lists of verbs and call it a day, because according to our source notes, some verbs can actually act as both transitive and intransitive, depending entirely on the context of the sentence. They're like these crazy linguistic shapeshifters. Listen to how the verb run shapeshifts depending on the context. In the first phrase, she runs a company. The verb is transitive. She is managing something. The action of running falls directly on the object, which is the company.
But check out the second phrase, she runs every day. Here, we're talking about the physical act of jogging, so it's intransitive. Every day is just an adverbial phrase telling us when, not a direct object receiving the running. It's the exact same work, but with totally different mechanics.
The notes point out that run definitely isn't alone in doing this. Everyday words like move, eat, write, and stop also switch teams depending entirely on how you use them. For instance, you could say, I eat, which is intransitive, just stating the fact that you're consuming food. Or you could say, I eat an apple, transitive, because now the apple is receiving the eating. You can say, the car stopped, which is intransitive, or I stopped the car, which is transitive. It's all about how you structure your thought.
Okay, now let's actually apply this knowledge to solve some notoriously confusing word pairs that honestly trick even the most advanced English learners. First up, raise versus rise. This one is a classic, but the rule is actually super simple now that we know the code. Raise is transitive, meaning you must do it to something. You raise a flag, you raise your voice, or you raise your hand. The hand is the direct object. Rise, however, is intransitive. It happens entirely on its own. You cannot rise an object. Think about it. The sun rises. It just does it all by itself. No direct object needed at all.
Similarly, we've got the ultimate struggle, lay versus lie. Following our pattern, you must lay an object down, making it a transitive verb, like lay the book on the table. The book is receiving the action of being laid down. But you yourself lie down, making it intransitive. I need to lie down. You don't lie an object, you just perform the action yourself. Literally just mastering this one distinction will instantly elevate your writing. To wrap up this explainer, Mr. Mu'attaz Salim's notes leave us with one final, ultimate cheat code for identifying these verbs on the fly. Let's call it the golden rule.
Here is that golden rule. Simply ask what immediately after the verb. If answering that question with a noun makes logical, grammatical sense, congratulations, you've just found a transitive verb. It is a brilliantly quick test you can run in your head while typing a quick email or writing an essay. He kicked what? The ball. Perfect. Makes sense. He arrived. What? Doesn't make sense. Intransitive.
You see, grammar doesn't have to be this frustrating guessing game of what just feels right. It's actually a really beautiful system of logic. So the next time you're about to write a sentence in English, will you remember to use the golden rule test before you toss in your object? By simply understanding if your action needs a receiver or if it can stand proudly on its own, you are unlocking a whole new level of clarity in your communication. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy writing!